next generation of warfare, psychological warfare. In modern conflict, the mind is a potent weapon. Discover General Michael T. Flynn's groundbreaking guide, The Citizen's Guide to Fifth Generation Warfare. Unlock tactics, strategies, and the mindset to navigate this cognitive battlefield that we all find ourselves in. Equip yourself against manipulation and emerge unscathed. Unleash your potential. Order now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is August 24th, 2026. It is episode 590. 590. A whole lot more if you include the specials and the series and everything that's out there. And it's with a heavy heart. This is hard to put out there because we're approaching the 5-year anniversary for the AlphaWarrior Show. But this will be the last episode, folks. You know, with the attacks on myself and my friends, the exposure operations brought against me, the headaches, the toll that it's taken on my peace, on my sanity, we're going to make this one definitely count. So it's just a lot, folks. It's a lot. And so it's with a heavy heart that I have to be the bearer of that news. You must be out of your fucking mind. If you're on the seat of your pants, folks, come on. That's just for the trolls that want to repeatedly attack, think that they can come after us. We just wanted them to feel good just for a second and think we got them. We got them. Folks, talking to you, the bad guys, the ones that want to start drama, the ones that just, you had me. But for those of you that you hate the show and you hate me and you hate my audience so much, but you watch it a lot. I mean, you might as well just acknowledge you're kind of a fan. We're not going anywhere. If the most powerful government in the world tried to silence us and they failed, you people are just irrelevant. So while you continue to try to conjure up lies and fabricate whatever you do, just know that the show's getting bigger, the audience is growing, and we're just having, God is with us. That was me now. Listen, there was going to be a little bit of collateral damage in that prank, but we're not going anywhere. So for those of you that support the show, thank you. Welcome back. Episode 590 and many more to go. And for the trolls that are watching, enjoy the show and learn something. Tonight, what are we talking about? James Comey, 8647. Iran puts a bounty on Barron. Talk about wanting to FAFO. Race war incoming. There's something that just came across the timeline. It's popular. Most of you have probably seen it. And I think there's a potential for something. Again, we'll talk about that. 250th Grand Prix and Fauci. It's late tonight, folks. Just to give you guys an idea, we were actually set up to come early tonight. And then for any of you that saw the show that I was doing with CanCon and Cam today, lost my power. I think probably at about 11 o'clock, 11:15, my local time here in the West Coast, and was without power the entire day till I think probably 5 my time. Mama Bear had to come home, save the kids, take them out to the mall, and I had to rough it out till the electrical guys can come out here. And this house turned like an oven. So again, we're here late. So goal is probably around 2 hours. You know me, I don't want to cut in right in the middle of a theme. So if we go to 215, 230, we'll roll with that. And then again, another great show lined up for you tomorrow. This is one of the longer ones. Would be one of those 5-hour ones. If we went the distance, I like to see you guys in the chat. I love you guys. Listen, if you guys were really that worried, then you know what? There's some silver lining to that, to know the appreciation I have for you guys. Here's the promise that I have to you, the audience. No one is ever going to silence us. Not going to ever happen. It won't. We showed that. We started this podcast in August of 2021. On August 30th of this year, that will be 5 years, folks. 5 years. And when we started, our audience was 20 people, 30 people. And we were here to do a mission, and nothing's going to stop that. So you guys got nothing to worry. I made a promise to you guys. I would never leave you guys hanging. So until he thinks it's time to punch my clock, I'm here. I'm always going to fight for you. I'll be the first one through the door. So with that, let's get into some of our amazing sponsors. We got a new one. And this one is super cool. Let me bring up this QR code so you can see it on the screen, and it'll populate right there in just a second. All right, sweet. There it is. So got to be honest with you about something. No more pranks. No more pranks. All right. With the recent heat waves we're all dealing with, and I'm telling you, folks, it hit 91 inside this house today in Southern California. I've been thinking about this a lot. And because I don't know about you, but I've been drinking water a lot. Y'all see me with my mug. As a matter of fact, you see the ghost one on this side. Proud dad of a Long Beach college student with my son. Shout out, kid. If you're watching, you shouldn't be. You should be asleep. And with drinking all the water, with the heat, I don't know if you guys still feel tired, if you still feel bloated, if you still feel dehydrated. And a lot of you might think that's just the way you deal with heat. Well, it turns out it's something else. Listen to this. One night I went down a rabbit hole trying to figure out what was actually going on. And I came across a video from this doctor, Dr. Josh, not our Josh, but another Dr. Josh, a practicing physician, 25 plus years in. And he was talking about something that I had never heard before. Liver dehydration. Yes, you heard that right. Liver dehydration. Not just dehydration, like you need to drink more water. He actually said that that's part of why people stay stuck, especially in summer. When everybody's chugging water and still feels depleted, he explained that your liver is an organ responsible for distributing hydration at the cellular level. And if your liver cells aren't holding onto water properly, it doesn't matter how much you drink. It just passes through without doing what it's supposed to, which is exactly why you could be sweating through a heat wave, drinking water all day, and still feel completely wiped out. The downstream effects: low energy, slow digestion, bloating, stubborn weight, that foggy, dried out feeling that makes you feel a decade older than you are. I know a lot of you guys are like, damn, checking the boxes. I'm there with you. But listen, so he created something it's called LTV, Lincoln Tom Victor. It stands for Lifetime Vitality. LTV uses clinical dose marine electrolytes paired with taurine to help your cells actually retain the water, not just move it through. Plus milk thistle and dandelion root, which are traditionally used to support the liver's natural detox and hydration function. And unlike other electrolyte drinks out there that I've been wasting money on, I know what you guys are talking about. You've seen them inside those cold fridges at the gas station. Don't drink them. They're bad. There's zero sugar, zero carbs, and zero calories. The reviews were enough to convince me. Thousands of people, results faster than they expected. I ordered it at the same time. I've been drinking it every morning, and honestly, especially with how brutal this summer has been, I feel like a completely different person. The afternoon crashes are basically gone, the bloating has calmed down, and I feel clear-headed, actually hydrated for the first time in a while. So if I'm not someone who talks about these products unless they genuinely work, you guys know the way I am, this one does. If you've been out there drinking water all summer and are still wondering why you feel so drained, this is what you got to do. drinkltv.com/alpha. Drink LTV, LincolnTomVictor.com/alpha. Dr. Josh is running a limited time offer right now. Save up to 57% and get a free bag only available through our link. It's summer. You need this. Go and get it. I want to bring this thing up on the screen so you guys can see it as well. Includes free gifts, hydration, liver support starter kit, 57% off. Folks, you got to give this thing some love. Again, drinkltv.com/alpha. Take advantage of the discounts that they offer my audience. And then, of course, one of our all-time favorites. When we come back, it's showtime.
Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine. Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing your loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need.
I hope you guys still aren't beating me up for that thing. Hold on, I gotta fix my screen real quick because I got the wrong one up to show you guys, and I don't know why it's doing that. So give me 1 second, and let's try this one more time. There we go. I hope you guys saw the right one while I was doing the, make sure it's looking. All right, let's try this again. There we go. Now you guys got it. So hopefully you guys saw the ad. Let me check something. I just want to go back and rewind a second just to make sure you guys actually saw it. This is the fun part of live, folks. Okay, it did come up. All right, cool. If not, I was just going to show it to you guys again anyways. All right, so with that, you guys, if you guys showed up early because you wanted to hang out, well, first do me a solid, you guys, since we are live and it's super late, it's hard to get the numbers that we need at these kind of hours. So help the show out right now. If you haven't done so, whatever platform you're watching on, smash that thumb, hit the heart, leave a comment, and of course, please share. For those of you, Alpha, your ad at the bottom of the screen, Kyle, see? This is what I'm talking about, man. You guys are right on. Now, it would have been like an hour from now. It would have been like, I got to put something on there. Got to pay some bills. All right, but here we are. We're back in action. Let's scroll to where I need to be. And all right, we're money. So if you showed up to hang out with everybody, for those of you that are new to the show, welcome. I start this show early. There's about 5 minutes of just some music that I play. You're on YouTube. I don't do it over there because obviously you know the rules in that arena. But on Rumble, I start that about 5 minutes early just to give you guys a chance to all kind of hang out and just socialize with each other. And then right after that, I play a teaser video, and it's usually relevant to one of the themes that we'll be talking about tonight. And of course, you saw tonight, Secretary Sean Duffy had posted that. It was pretty solid. Freedom 250 gram pricks. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. But Moto, I mean, UFC fights. Right? Race cars through DC. I mean, folks, think about what we went through during that Biden administration. Think about where we're at right now, and we're solid. People were saying, look at it. Listen, let's see. On the East Coast, what time is it for you guys right now? 11:20, 12:20, 1:20. If you're on the East Coast and you're watching right now, I love you. I absolutely love you. But imagine Cam's up. All right, folks. All right. I want to keep socializing with you guys because I miss you guys, but we got a show to get into. So, gentlemen, start your engines. Freedom 250 gram pricks is finally here. Yes, there was a winner. Yes, we'll get into that. But here's what else I want to talk about. For those of you that are still in Monday, like me here on the West Coast, 3 years ago, the deep state cabal arrested a president. A former president. We always thought it would be the good guys arresting one of the bad guys, and it turns out that the first president to get arrested is the one that loves this country the most. So just remember, as we talk about the wins tonight, as we talk about the struggles that we're having right now and the ones that are probably coming, just think about the fight this man has had. They've arrested him. They've attacked his family. They've attacked his wealth. They've attacked his name. They have tried to kill him. And if you weren't following the news today, the deep state Grand Prix. Thank you, Claire Claxton. Put an X. Well, they put an X. I'm going to say pricks, right? Grand Prix. But yes, Grand Prix X. But they crossed the line. The deep state crossed the line today, folks. And if you weren't following the news, I'm going to get into that a little bit later today. But if there was ever a situation where I would ever say we really got to have this president and his family in prayer, to include his children, we are definitely at that point, if you didn't think so already. And like I said, when we get into it here shortly, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But again, 3 years ago today, folks, with that, the White House, law and order is back. President Donald J. Trump backs the blue. You guys know how much this means to me, given what I come from. So take a quick listen to this.
We're here today to celebrate the historic progress our administration is making together with law enforcement partners nationwide to restore law and order in America. And we're especially grateful to be joined by the incredible men and women of Nassau County Police Department and a lot of other law enforcement. Nassau County has been rated the #1 safest county in the United States of America. Today I'm thrilled to announce that the FBI has just released a new uniform crime report showing that in 2025, we achieved the single largest reduction in violent crime in American history. Together we're showing what is possible when you finally have a president in the White House who supports our police, who lets you do your jobs, and who always backs the blue. We back the blue.
You want to have clean and safe streets. You have law enforcement knowing that they got a president that backs them. Now, this serves two folds real quick, okay? The first one is the good guys know that they can go do their job and they have the ultimate top cover. That means something. But here's the other fold that matters in that too. The corrupt cops, the bad ones, realize that they have a DOJ that's there to hunt them down. So you get the good guys that feel very confident to go out there and do their jobs that they've always been trained. And you have the bad guys that are like, okay, like someone's coming for us, right? And then I see Cam in the chat. Like, I thought I was joking. Bro, Prix. That's pricks, all right? If they wanted to be Prix, why not do like Pree, right? Listen, I don't make the rules, right? Some weirdo that thought they would spell Grand Prix with an X out of it, but y'all gonna come after me. All right. How about coming after the dude that thought it made sense to put an X at the end of Prix? All right. I ain't gonna keep defending myself, but speaking of law and order, it's French, you goof. Well, okay, you guys are making my argument for me. All right. It's Jesus. Pepe Le Pew, they ain't my fault the French don't know how to spell. But check this out. New York Post. Gavin Newsom signs the controversial Stop Nick Shirley Act into law. This is absolutely wild, folks. Especially because, I'm a Californian. We're going to stop journalists, citizen journalists, the media from going and investigating and asking questions. It's not like Nick Shirley or someone in his capacity could put handcuffs on someone. Well, I mean, let me put a little asterisk there. There's a thing called a citizen's arrest. Different conversation, different tool that might be deployed. Who knows? But the point here being is it's asking questions. Since when are citizens not allowed to go and do investigations and ask questions? As long as they're not violating somebody's rights, as long as they're not going, private property trespassing, as long as they're doing things and asking questions and investigating without breaking the law, where's the issue? But now it is an issue in Gavin Newsom. However, let's look at some of the things that are going on in California that might be why this California government is pushing back. Steve Hilton says Becerra can run from the cameras in Sacramento, but he can't hide from the 479,000 unaccompanied kids who vanished on his watch at HHS, many into the hands of traffickers. California deserves a real debate. Let's have it. I got some good news with this too, but take a listen.
Yeah, look, in the words of Susan Rice, who worked with him in the Biden cabinet, this guy is an idiot, quote. And that's why they're hiding him. And it's not just that he can't do the job. He can't do any job. And the particular thing he's really running away from is scrutiny over his role at HHS as the secretary for the migrant child abuse scandal. 479,000 unaccompanied migrant children in his custody. And he dismantled the vetting and ended up losing track of hundreds of thousands, and many of them ended up with child sex traffickers and child labor traffickers. When he was asked about this in Sacramento the other week, he literally ran away from reporters. This guy cannot escape scrutiny forever, and that's why this race is getting tighter.
Yeah.
It is getting tighter. He's closing in on the points, and there's more things unfolding. Because not only is Newsom's family being looked into, oh, they're looking at my wife. He didn't have a problem when Antonio Brown was doing it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, but I did. But now you got this going on with Becerra. Well, guess what else? Check this one out. Holy smokes. White House Fraud Task Force Vice Chief Andrew Ferguson is exposing California AG Rob Bonta's wife, Mia Bonta, passing the Stop Nick Shirley Act. Starting to make sense? You starting to see what's really going on here? We have real suspicions about whether the officials are benefiting from the fraud. Take a listen yourself.
I have some suspicions. I've consistently said that if government officials in the states are not focused on working with the administration to stop the fraud, we should have some real suspicions about whether the government officials are also benefiting from the fraud. And it's not a coincidence, I don't think, that the Attorney General of California's wife is one of the principal sponsors of this Nick Shirley Act. That Attorney General is supposed to be the tip of the spear in fighting fraud in California, and instead his wife is trying to prevent people like Nick Shirley from pointing out that the fraud is happening. This is a huge problem. It is not stopping the Trump administration. Vice President Vance's task force is full steam ahead. We will work with the states that want to work with us, and we will work around the states that don't to make sure that the American people are not being stolen from in any of the 50 states.
In addition,
remember this term, folks. The California mafia families. Just remember that. The California mafia families. Now, bring it back to Bonta for a second, because you guys know this one hits home personally because the FBI weaponized this against me when they came after me with all the J6 drama. Bonta is also the one that is going after large capacity magazines, going after quote unquote assault rifles. This is the guy that's at the tip of the spear for attacking the Second Amendment inside California. Even knowing the Supreme Court's rulings. Like, that's who this guy is. But yet, you got his wife here trying to stop. This is the reason. Listen, they don't, well, I won't say they don't care. They do care that, you know, Nick Shirley's doing this investigation into the hospice things. They do care about that because their people are benefiting from it. But what really scares them is the momentum of those investigations. Because like you've seen, then those investigations lead to something else, which lead to something else. That's what they're afraid of. But let's keep going because it gets better and better. Wall Street Apes puts out, wow. Foreign-born man in California caught setting up fraudulent hospice companies and working with mortuaries to get the names of dead people to bill Medicare. He stole $27 million. California didn't care that he misspelled hospice company names. One was spelled Holly Trinity. He bought a Rolls Royce. His patients were dead people. He billed $33,000 per patient per year. Prosecutors are charging two accomplices, the manager of a mortuary who gave David Shashar names of the people who recently passed in exchange for cash. This is the exact type of fraud Nick Shirley was investigating and exposing, and Democrats, Bonta's wife, just made it illegal to investigate in California. Gavin Newsom signed the Stop Nick Shirley Act. Shocked will protect that these foreign fraudsters are stealing our tax money in the future, folks. If you can't tell right now, these people are done. When you're trying to, well, not trying to, they did. When you're passing laws to stop American citizens from catching you do the corruptness, all you did was buy time. You cannot stop what is coming. Let's keep going. Then it brings us to this. This is just, some things are just so weird, they're funny. Eric puts out, LMAO, Gavin Newsom has caved, telling everyone to get a Trump account. Listen, when I saw this, I was just like, no, bro. Like, no. There's no way. This is AI. This is not legit. I'm not buying it. And it turns out what you're about to see is real. This is not AI, folks. Listen.
He said that he completely supports this and that he thinks it's the best thing President Trump has ever done. Watch.
I'm enthusiastic about encouraging people to get a Trump account. I think it's incredibly important. It's one of the best things he's done. And so we're here to encourage people to take advantage of this, to not fall prey to the politics or the cynicism or maybe even the fear that if I download a Trump account, somehow that means something. It doesn't. It just means something for your kid. It's not Trump's money. It's your child's money.
He is so thirsty. And it reminds me a little bit of when Trump came up with the no tax on tips.
Exactly.
And then you had a lot of these Democrats who are like, oh, that's a really good idea.
And then they pretended like Kamala pretended like she did
it. His internal demon must have been screaming as he was saying that. He probably was telling his PR people, how can I deliver this message without saying Trump's name? And they're like, you can't. And even in the beginning, you can hear it in his voice. It almost sounds like he's nervous. Now, I know he's not nervous because the guy's he's a showman. I'll give him that. But you can tell he's uncomfortable with that. So let's get going because I want to get into some of these themes tonight. And then we get into this. Breaking transgender woman, imagine that, convicted of crimes tied to attempted assassination of Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, is sentenced to 73 months. Now, I think these people should get a hell of a lot longer time than that. But nonetheless, this, conviction and a sentencing. But I want to not just highlight that, hey, for all those that say nothing's happening. Yeah, there is things that are happening, but also want to highlight the part that, I got to push back against, and I know some of you are in the chat, and this ain't going to resonate with you, but it is what it is. It's the truth. Is when you go or anyone goes out and says, oh, it's all a script. No, it's not. This right here is a prime example of somebody that meant to harm a good guy. That's real. Kind of understand this about chess and the chess master. It's not that Trump, the operation, the white hats, whatever you want to call them, it's not about being able to predict the future. Now, granted, I do believe that there's a very sophisticated AI and technology that's using predictive analytics. I do believe that is in play. But just understand the concept, the theory behind this war strategy. It's not about being able to predict the future. Think about a chessboard. When you're making a move, what you're doing is it's the understanding of the options that your opponent has. And at whatever option they choose, the path that takes them down. And it's being able for you yourself to be able to play that and have contingencies in each one of those options that your opponent has. That's what makes him a chess master. So understand when we say there's a script that you're watching, yes, it's a script, but it's a script that has many options that they can go through. There's more people might get hurt on this one, less people might get hurt on this one. 100% Raptor Talent opportunity cost. But just understand that what's playing out right now is very real. Is there kafabi and kayfabe and all that in play? Yes. Are there out there people that are reading a script or reading a role for self-preservation, or they got caught, or they're trying to make a deal? Yes. But just also understand that there are a lot of real things that are in play. And again, this is one of them. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but let's keep going. John Solomon, breaking: FBI seizes Swalwell's electronics at San Francisco airport. So I'll just read you the post that I put. Sounds like the FBI may have had Swalwell under active electronic surveillance. If that's the case, here's my hunch. They knew where he was going, who he was communicating with, and potentially what he was carrying, which raises an interesting possibility. Was Swalwell en route to deliver, move, or destroy information when the FBI intercepted him and seized his electronics? Again, just a hunch. But federal agents confronting him at an airport and taking his devices certainly makes the timing interesting. Sometimes where they stop you tells you almost as much as why they stopped you. Let that one resonate with you guys, folks. This one's going to develop into something sweet, so just understand that. Continuing on, FBI response. The FBI is putting manpower back where it belongs, in the field, working shoulder to shoulder with America's state and local law enforcement. This is the kind of stuff that does, from time to time, make me miss the job. But let's take a listen to Cash.
Our best partners are state and local police officers, sheriffs, and deputies out there in the U.S. And what we did in this FBI was we wanted more task force officers. So we increased, under my directorship in President Trump's administration, the task force officers of state and locals by almost 3,000 officers across the country. That means they're with us. We're embedded with them. We're running joint operations. We're running counter-narcotics operations, counter-terrorism operations, counterintelligence operations. We're co-located thanks to the Homeland Security Task Force that President Trump, stood up for the first time in the history of America. And that's why these results are being delivered, because we are working together flawlessly. We have taken the handcuffs off police officers and eliminated the bureaucracy that prevented them from doing their job. And for me at the FBI, what I did specifically was rebuild an entire infrastructure that was decades old, sent 1,500 FBI personnel from Washington, D.C. permanently out into the field in the United States of America to work with our state and local and interagency partners to deliver these results. Manpower on the streets is irreplaceable, and the only thing that was hurting us was a bureaucracy in D.C., and we shut that bureaucracy down.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal for your rank and file guys. And here's the thing, folks. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of my skis. Let me get into this next one, and then I'll provide my commentary, because they all play into each other. HHS. Wolves in white coats report exposes how calculated financial and political efforts left children irreversibly harmed and abandoned at the very moments when they needed real support. Thank you to the Vice President, Secretary Kennedy, for taking action to ensure accountability. The expansion of pediatric sex-rejecting procedures resulted from financial incentives, potentially illegal billing practices, ideological influences, professional influences, federal policy, and inadequate oversight. Folks, just think about what we've talked about in like the last 25 minutes of content. How can anybody read these stories, vet them, verify them, and then come away and not recognize that there is an absolute plan that is dismantling the infrastructure that the deep state has used to stay in power, enslave us, attack our children, control and weaponize the economy against us, other countries? How can anybody see this stuff and still come away with nothing's happening, bro? Like, that's insanity to me. And these are big deals. This is a big deal for what happened to our kids, because this is also a step in the direction that leads to accountability. But I know there's going to be a smartass that says, where's the arrest? What matters more, an arrest or a conviction? Because you can arrest someone yesterday, and if you don't have a solid case because you jumped the gun, because you want headlines, because you want a photo op, because you want to do a soundbite, then when that guy goes to court, if it's even taken to court, he's going to walk. They're doing things the right way, and the evidence is there to support it. If there was the absence of all these things that we've been talking about for the last, 18 months now, if we had an absence of this stuff, then I'd probably be on board with the concern. But here, at this point, with what they've accomplished this fast, sorry, it's not there. I'm not buying the propaganda. Coming back to Eric D. Holy crap, Dr. Oz reveals, check this out, think about the hospice, that if 100% of fraud is abolished from Medicare, the Medicare Trust Fund will double its lifespan. Let me just play this for you. This is wild.
An abuse issue is important. Now, I'll just put it in the context of what you just gave me. The insolvency of the Medicare Trust Fund, which is going to happen in 6 to 7 years, it'll last twice as long. Think about that. Twice as many years of benefits if we just take the fraud out of Medicare. Forget about everything else. Just this past year, we cut $42 billion of fraud from Medicare by never leaving the money out of the door. And those are the kinds of benefits. We're seeing a dramatic changes in durable medical equipment fraud by a nationwide moratorium.
$42 billion. The federal government paid $1.2 trillion on Medicare.
That's just the beginning. That was last year. We hadn't even gotten the full speed.
Yeah.
But let me just point one reality out. This is important. The fraud doesn't just steal money. It steals our trust. And we have states that are not working closely with us on these issues. And that's because in some cases, what's fraud to us, objectively, is actually a feature for the states.
But you're acknowledging that, while important work, is not sufficient to that massive financial problem.
The even bigger
and
benefit.
More needs to be done. Is there a plan to do so past the midterms after January?
Well, I'll give you the plan we're already acting on. Without question, what's even bigger as an opportunity to save us money is the use of technology, including artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence in the hands of the right people. Let's keep going. This next one. Shout out to Kanoka the Great. New DOJ's appeal to reinstate the human smuggling case against Kilmar Abrego Garcia reveals evidence that goes far beyond the 2022 Tennessee traffic stop. Remember, think this guy, think Michael Fanone, and think about a murder of a certain DNC employee. Initials SR. So it looks like some people joined late. Pirate Raider. So sorry. For those that joined late and missed the intro, I won't put the cat out of the bag. You got to go back and watch the intro and you'll realize why some of my people are throwing tomatoes at me right now. Yes, Ms. Rhea, freedom fighter, Seth Rich. Remember these three names because they might all of a sudden be connected in some way. My speculation. Michael Fanone, Abrego Garcia, Seth Rich. But anyways, continuing, prosecutors say Abrego was driving a vehicle owned by convicted human smuggler Jose Hernandez Reyes. During the stop, Abrego called Reyes and allegedly told him that the trooper he was calling his boss. Reyes later told investigators Abrego worked as a driver in his smuggling operation and had him saved in his phone as chauffeur. Abrego claimed he was driving from St. Louis to Baltimore, but license plate data allegedly showed the vehicle had come from Texas. Imagine that. The 9 passengers reportedly had no luggage despite supposedly making a long-distance trip. Additional witnesses later alleged corroborating the smuggling operation. Abrego Garcia is the man the Trump administration has accused of MS-13 ties and human smuggling, and whom Democratic lawmakers and much of the corporate press turned into a national martyr over his deportation. Ask yourself this question. Remember, think Fanone, think his area of operation, remember that he worked UC. And as working at UC, you know who the trigger pullers are in your area. Think Seth Rich and what he knew. Think this low life, right? Abrego Garcia, MS-13 ties, human trafficking, and ask yourself, why would the Democrats be trying to protect this guy so bad? Unless he knew something. Wonder what he knows. This guy will probably end up a ghost before he ever sees the trial. But it's my speculation. They probably have what they need with regards to his information anyways. Just my thoughts. Bringing it back to Eric D. Him and MJ just been on fire. You guys aren't following these guys. You need to. Border Caesar Tom Homan says ICE is flooding the zone of every sanctuary city because they refuse to cooperate. Deportations are full steam ahead. I'm going to tell you about something that I've witnessed here in my IRL, right? With regards to this. Now, again, you know, not everything is the result of something else, but I think that this is definitely in play. Why? I'm in Southern California, folks. A hell of a lot of sanctuary cities out here. So let me play this clip, and then I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
We flooded the zone of sanctuary cities. Because if they don't let us take apprehension of the bad guy and the safety and security of the jail, right? So they're going to release him. Now I got to send a whole team of 6 or 7 people to go look for this person in the community. So what sanctuary cities do is not only give sanctuaries to criminals, it makes the community less safe because they're releasing public safety threats back into the public and they don't have to. It puts our officers at greater risk. It puts the alien at greater risk because anything can happen during a street arrest. So this is why we're flooding the zone. This is why we're concentrating most of our resources in sanctuary cities, because we have to go into community to find people we should have gotten to jail.
Tom, there was a really...
Here's the thing, folks. One, Tom Homan is that dude is a battle beast, right? The dude's energy is just FAFO. You got to love that. The Border Patrol guys got to love that this is the personality and the work demands of their boss. Now, that aside, what was I talking about before we played the clip of what I've been witnessing here in SoCal? So late last year to very early this year, so we're talking November, December, January timeframe, I was looking at some places to relocate here in Southern California, and I applied the filters of what I was looking for as far as the size of a home, and you guys get it. You've all at some point probably looked for somewhere to rent or buy. And when I was, for this conversation, rent. And as I was looking, it was very sporadic, the amount of properties that were available for rent. And when you did find it, I was like, holy shit, these rent prices are higher than what I was paying for my own mortgage. When I owned my home, it was insane. The last couple of days that I've been doing the same thing and looking at properties, there's a whole bunch of properties available to rent right now, and the prices have dramatically dropped. Now, why is that? I can't say I know for sure. I don't, but I do know that Customs Border Patrol has had a huge presence here in SoCal. So I also know that there's a hell of a lot of South deportations taking place. So I don't know. I'm thinking 2 and 2 does equal 4 on this one. You guys can let me know what you think in the chat. As a matter of fact, if you guys have witnessed that in your areas, let me know you can let me know in the chat, but just know the chat disappears in a few hours. Whenever there's something you guys want to share with me, you don't want to lose it, put it in the comments. So this way, it stays there and we can all see it. But if you're in an area or a different state, let me know if you're witnessing that. I'd be very curious, because like I said, it was not a slight difference. It was an exponential difference. And again, that's good news. That's really good. So let's keep firing on. You guys are going to love this one. Speaking of ICE, President Trump, this comes from Leading Report. President Trump says ICE has initiated enforcement proceedings against who? Rep. Ilhan Omar. Folks, you asked for it. You asked for it. You asked for it. And the boss man just came out and confirmed it. This is actually happening. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see how it plays out. Then we got this interesting one. This comes from the Colonel. She picked this up, and I'll play it for you guys. 4 deputies from the Harris County Sheriff's Office in Texas have died by suicide in the past 6 weeks.
Also today, friends and family said goodbye to veteran Harris County Deputy Christina Kohler. Her death last week was ruled a suicide. Kohler is one of 4 current or former Harris County deputies who've taken their own lives in just the last 6 weeks. ABC 13's Jessica Willey is live tonight, and this is leading to important conversations about the need for support, Jessica.
Yeah, Eric, the department has a behavioral health division that has made great strides since it was established in 2020 and has led the way, its director says, among law enforcement agencies. But these recent deaths are raising serious concerns for the deputies' organization. The question is, what more should they be doing?
It caught a lot of us by surprise.
Harris County Sheriff's Deputy Christina Kohler left home last week and was never seen again. Houston police issuing this alert. The 37-year-old found on the 13th. She had taken her own life. 3 days later, Maria Vasquez, who left the department in December, died by apparent suicide. William Bozeman, also a former deputy, died earlier this week. Tragic news.
One is too many. You know, 2, 3 is, yes, it's definitely devastating.
That Jose Lopez is helping his friends and colleagues try to process.
It hits very close to home, and it's a reminder to us of how fragile life is. It's also a reminder that we do need to look out for each other. We do need to take care of each other.
Lopez is the president of the Harris County Deputies Organization, but he knew 2 of the late deputies personally.
I knew him for over 20 years.
In just 6 weeks' time, 4 current and former deputies have taken their own lives. Psychologist Thomas McNeese is the director of the department's Behavioral Health Division.
These last few weeks have been difficult for our staff and for the sheriff's office as a whole.
He says he and his division work to provide resources to both former and current employees who are struggling. They embed to help people feel more comfortable.
This profession, unfortunately, takes a toll on people, and over time, the longer they're in it, the more of a toll that it takes, and it changes people.
First responders historically have a high rate of suicide.
It's a combination of things like what they see on the job and then what the job entails.
While the department has been focused on mental health, often leading the way, Lopez says these last few weeks have raised questions.
We can't help to ask the question of, is that enough? You know, do we need to do something different? What else can we do?
And as they work to support those grieving, McNeese with this message to anyone who might be in crisis.
Reaching out, getting some help, doing something to be able to not stay stuck where you're at is really important.
Jessica Willey, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Ain't no damn way I'm subscribing to that shit. No way. I'm not even considering that. It's a remote possibility that 4 deputies committed suicide in 6 weeks. Impossible. As a matter of fact, somebody run the stats on that. 4 deputies from the same department in less than 2 months all commit suicide. So somebody asked the devil's AI, and I guarantee you it's some astronomical stat. 1, definitely believable. 2, possibility. 3, not happening. Here's what I'll say, and granted, not all cops are built the same. I get it. But aside from that, if it was me, and I imagine because this made headlines now, I imagine if it wasn't already, that the feds are looking at this. Because here's the thing, folks. An officer, a deputy, is not a regular person. These are people that are built to sustain chaotic lives, distressing lives on a daily basis. Their threshold is very high for that. Now, not all of them may cope the right way. Some turn to domestic violence, some turn to alcohol abuse, some drug abuse, financial problems. You know, I'm not saying that cops are without issue, but their threshold to be able to sustain that kind of lifestyle and keep doing the job, this is just how they're built. When one partner dies, you know, whether through work, natural causes, or suicide, yeah, it's rough. But you don't see this. You don't ever see this. My speculation, and again, this is me knowing as much about this case as you guys right now. My speculation that somebody involved here is probably thinking like, well, look at veteran suicide is high and it's all that, not realizing the size of the actual military and that something like this would be believable. Given that it's Texas, I'd be very curious how close Harris County is to the border. I'd be very curious to how many border operations they have. I'd be very curious that is this a cartel hit? I would be looking, if I was the agent attached to this, I would be saying, I want every single case that these guys were all tied together on. I want to know every special detail. Are they from the same hiring group? Like, do they live together? Do these people hang out together? I would be looking at every damn thing that these deputies had in common. But I'm telling you, folks, my hunch on this one is we haven't heard the last of this case. And like the colonel said, interesting. I'm pretty sure somebody is probably taking a look at this. But again, wanted to put that out there because the colonel caught it and I saw it and I wanted to share it. Let's see. Somebody said Harris County is the majority of the Houston metro area. It's huge, like LA. I'm telling you. So here's the one thing that I will bet the house on. No damn way all 4 of them committed suicide. No damn way. No, I will bet everything I own on that. That's how confident I am in that. Nobody would ever convince me of that. Now, again, we kind of ran through some potential MOs, but definitely not 4 suicides. Sorry, folks, I ain't buying that story. Eric D comes out. Wow, a liberal Miami. You guys are gonna like this one. Liberal Miami-Dade judge who tried blocking Donald Trump's presidential library was just unseated by conservative Destiny Alvarez, 30, in last night's election. Florida FAFO sitting judge Mavel Reese stonewalled the land transfer for Trump's library construction from Miami-Dade College. She was eventually forced to lift it. Now she's going to be replaced by Destiny Alvarez. Let's fucking go. More of this all over the country, and it's happening. Bring it to Pete. Arsenal of Freedom. RTX Raytheon is accelerating production of the Tomahawk cruise missiles as part of the Department of War's Arsenal of Freedom. Now, I know some people are like, Alpha, what the hell are you talking about? Why are we celebrating Raytheon? No, folks. Let me put something out there. I think some people were under the understanding that Trump would go in there and just, demolish Raytheon, go in there and demolish this agency and demolish this company. Folks, this is the part of the military industrial complex that builds our shit. He's not going to go and destroy them. We're taking them over. That is what is happening. So anybody that thinks that Trump's going to go in there and just start destroying our... Okay, listen. It's like having an argument with your wife, your husband, or your kids, and you're pissed off. So you go in the house, and because, maybe the wife's spending too much money, maybe the kids are spending too much money, maybe the husband's spending too much money, and you go in the house because you're pissed because they're spending too much money, so you start making holes in the wall and start destroying all your furniture. What sense does that make? Why the hell would you think that Trump would do that with the companies and the technology that builds the stuff that our guys and gals need to defend this country? So no, we're taking this stuff over. That is what's happening. Now, granted, you're going to see some of the subcontractors and those things. I agree. Those things will be destroyed, but you're going to get a clean house. You're going to get audits. All that stuff will happen. But the main companies themselves, the stuff, it ain't going nowhere, folks. At least not for now. So again, Raytheon awarded 7-year contract for the Tomahawk cruise missiles until they're replaced by space lasers. Psalms 144 puts, looks like the crew of the Lincoln will finally be headed home, praying for a safe journey for them. USS Washington arrives in the Middle East. USS Lincoln begins journey home. The Jerusalem Post. There's been a lot of controversy. A lot of you guys have been asking me to share my thoughts on this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I will briefly address it. And then some of you are just going to think I'm an asshole, and that's okay. I'm not a Navy guy, right? Marine Corps. I've never had an extended stay out on a carrier or battleship like some of these guys or gals have had to. So I can't say that I know what it's like to be out on a ship, stuck in a Pepsi can for 100, 200, 300 plus days. I don't have that experience. But the experience I do have is we signed the contract voluntary. Most of us got to pick our MOSs. What do we not understand about going to war, being in war? And again, yes, I believe we're at war, right? There's this shadow war that's playing out right now. It's the hidden war, the silent war, whatever you want to call it. Man the fuck up. It sucks. Yeah, probably does. Probably driving you crazy. I get it. Probably worry about Susie, right? Dear John letters. I get it. Man up. Man up. You're fighting for the country. And when you're done with your job and you come home, we will carry you on our shoulders. We'll buy you meals and we'll treat you like the heroes that you are. But in the meantime, stop fucking crying. That's my thoughts, folks. Like, if you want to know my thoughts, that's my thoughts. And if you got kids that are on these boats, listen, I respect them. I would go out there and I'd jump in a battle with any one of those guys and gals that did that. But I'm not going to sit here and cry because they've been in the ocean too fucking long. Get over it. Get over it. You're warriors. Act like it. So you guys kept bugging me. This was the reason I didn't want to share my thoughts on it, because then I know everybody was going to say freaking Alf's an asshole, but that's just the way it is. Or listen, don't ask a Marine for their opinion on stuff like this. Y'all know what we're going to say. Go ask the Air Force or one of them. But us, no, man. All right. Listen, for those of you veterans that went to war, you know what it's like when you're part of the first push. We can call home for 5-6 months, no emails, no nothing. You know, it took 2 or 3, no longer. It's like 3 or 4 months to get our first mail. It's war. It sucks. It sucks. You bitch amongst yourselves, but you don't do it publicly. Like this, that shit is unsat. You don't do it publicly. You go and you talk your shit, and then you do what your boss tells you to do. Like, that's where it's at. Sean Douglas says, shut the fuck up and put your big boy panties on. Yes. See, that's what I'm talking about, Sean. So anyways, definitely pray for their safety. I respect all of them. I want to be very clear. I respect all of them. But sometimes we got to tell our warriors to tighten it up. So let's keep going. I don't want to spend too much time on that because I'm going to get some nasty grams. I already know. Gateway Pundit. Ford adds thousands of jobs in the United States as move away from China continues. This is the stuff that just makes my heart sing, folks, because everybody kept saying Trump's not going to be able to bring manufacturing back. The tariffs are going to backfire on them. There's no way. And here it is. You know, thousands of more jobs coming back. And so not only is it a plus in our direction, but it's a greater move because China's losing them. So that difference there, that threshold is even larger than what it looks like on paper. So good, big deal. We got a good damn president. The Skiff, another great account for you guys. Breaking, President Trump hits at the U.S. buying sizable amounts of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and states that there will be no central bank digital currency. We'll get into that in just a second. Trump states to pass the Crypto Clarity Act, CCA, and ensure the U.S. remains the undisputed leader in Bitcoin and crypto. This is huge news. Don't get left behind. Now, I have a little note that's right here to make sure I don't forget that I was supposed to talk about this. Let me get a little drink of my coffee from this mug that may or may not be sold on my website, AlphaWarrior.tv. Big old mug, not one of them little sissy mugs, right? Patriot, get in the fight, but coffee first, right? That's a cheap commercial. I tried. Damn, that coffee's good, though. I'll tell you that much. Looking back at my notes, I'd say I even distract myself sometimes. I mean, it is 11:05, 23:05 hours, right? Yeah, shut up. I'm on the East Coast. All right, I'll stop. I saw somebody in the Netherlands. Like, if you're from another country, let us know in the different chats. I'd definitely love to listen. I love my Americans. Y'all know I love you. But I saw someone from the Netherlands. So if you're from another country, if you don't mind, let us, you don't have to tell us where in that country, you know, especially if it's a country where they're going to come knocking at your door. But definitely would love to know all over the world where you guys are listening tonight. But again, shout out the Netherlands. One of the things that we know with Trump, and some of you might have caught me saying this on one of the shows. I don't know if it was Only Lands or Badlands Daily, but I kind of touched on this, and I'm probably going to end up writing a little mini article on it. Does Trump flip-flop on a lot of subjects? Yes, he does. The Hormuz Strait is one. We're at war. We're not at war. We won. We're back into negotiations. Like, there's a lot of things, and I think it serves a purpose, right? I don't think Trump's crazy. I think it serves a purpose. But Texas count. Wes, what all them jihadis going out there is going to start looking like another part of the world. Aussie here. I like my Aussies. I just love seeing all the different parts of the world that are here. Right on, you guys. I'll keep looking. Yeah, Brisbane, Australia. Man, you guys rock. Shout out from Southern California. But he does flip-flop. Now, here's why that matters. Because if we know that Trump has a pattern on topics to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it frustrates everybody, then here's what you need to pay attention to. Are there certain topics or themes or specifics that he doesn't do that on? The answer to that is yes. This what I'm about to say right now is probably one of the most important things that I'll share this entire broadcast tonight. There are certain things Trump does not flip-flop on. One of them is when he talks about the CBDCs. He has never even weighed the consideration of not being completely against it. So that's one. Two, he constantly supports Bitcoin, whether you like it or you don't. Listen, shout out XRP. Y'all don't even start that with me. I own them both. Right? Alpha. It was Ref over there from the Netherlands. Thank you for that, Claire. But the other one that's really important to me, y'all know it's important to me, is when it comes to voting. Trump has never, not once, not even implied deviating from telling people they got to show up and vote. So think about that. For all the topics that he flip-flops on, pay very close attention to the ones that he's steadfast, speech after speech, post after post, interview after interview. That is so important. Why? Because what that communicates to me, now this part is my speculation, what that communicates to me is that he doesn't even want to have a hint that he has a different perspective or agenda when it comes to those things. And that matters. So vote, vote, vote. Let's keep pushing on. Speaking of no to central bank digital currencies, just now, President Trump confirms that CBDCs are banned. I think I have this clip for you guys. I do. Listen to this.
They have been able to. I signed a historic executive order banning any attempt to create a central bank digital currency. We launched Project Crypto to modernize rules so that our financial markets can move into blockchain technology. I established the United States Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, making Bitcoin a permanent asset of the United States Treasury, which has turned out incredibly well. I also created the United States Digital Asset Stockpile to hold custody of all other digital assets, and that's exactly what it's done. It's been amazing. 1 year ago this summer.
Again, if you guys remember on, a lot of the same people that try to talk shit about me were telling you early on last year, Trump is setting us up for CBDCs. He's going to do it. And we were like, no. Yeah, but Project 47. And we're like, listen, there's Trump's agenda, and then there's all these other ones that try to lean on him and replicate him, but there's only one that he's put his name behind. And we said he's not going to support it. He's against it. He's against it. He's against it. What more does it take? So again, now you got to ask yourself, hold on, someone asked the question. Alpha, don't forget to report on your football team's owner's trailer. Oh, you ain't right. You ain't right, redneck. You ain't. God, I want to ban you so bad right now, redneck, but you're an OG. God, y'all don't know I'm struggling right now. Like my hand just wants to grab the mouse. It just wants to boot redneck. He came after my Niners during. Why you bring sports into this right now, redneck? Why will you do me like that, man? God, I want to ban him. You know what? We're gonna do some Julius Caesar shit right now. We're gonna do some Julius Caesar shit. If y'all think that I should just ban just for this show, not forever, because I love redneck, but if y'all think that I should ban them for just this show for coming after my Niners right now, give me a thumbs up. If y'all want mercy, no. Hold on, I confused myself. I'm so pissed right now. If y'all think I should ban them, thumbs down. Thumbs down. All right. Yeah, there we go. Thumbs down. All right. And I ban them. If y'all want mercy, thumbs up. All right. So there it is, redneck. I'm going to let the audience in the different platforms describe choose your destiny. Yeah, let's see. Look at the distraction you have created, redneck. Look at the distraction. And then you said, go pack, go. Oh my God. You're a cheesehead, bro. Like, hold on. Cam, is redneck, is that CanCon's alt account? Because ain't no one else going to love the Packers. Who in the right man loves the Packers? All these people want mercy. God, you guys are soft, man. Hold on, let me go to YouTube. I bet YouTube's like, get rid of them. Get rid of them. Man, it's kind of balanced. You're going to survive tonight, redneck. Just know I wanted to. Just know I wanted to. I should do it for like 5 minutes. No, I'm not. We got to keep going. Again, you guys heard my talk on what we got to say with CBDCs. Blame redneck. He's the one that just created a 5-minute distraction. So Arwood says Alpha should try to interview Susan, Kokinda, Barb, or Mike from Promethean Action about the American system. That'd be cool. That'd be a cool interview. I think I've reached out to them before. I have to look, see if one of them follows me back. I don't know. That would be cool. I like them. I don't subscribe that everything is the crown. Like I'm not there. But I do recognize the crown as definitely one of the heads on this 3-headed dragon. I agree completely there, but I do think that there's more beyond that. Now, listen, I see y'all talking football. I'm going to ignore it. Y'all are going to distract me. We got a show to do tonight. U.S. Department of Energy, in case you missed it, pay attention, you people that don't know football. Energy is investing $162 million in 9 projects to recover critical minerals from domestic industrial sources, strengthening America's supply chains, national security, and energy independence. This is a big deal, folks. Especially if you followed John Patel Patriot and you subscribe to at least the possibility of devolution, and you've researched PEDs and you understand, how many PEDs, Department of Energy is behind. Like there's just a lot of interesting things that are here. But again, $162 million in 9 projects to recover critical minerals and domestic industrial sources. Now, why is that important? If you guys remember, before me and Josh started doing any shows together, the guy's just absolutely brilliant. I'm very lucky to have a co-host that's like a little mini Einstein, right? But one of the things in our early conversations that he used to tell me, and he shared it on some of the podcasts that we've done, is me and Josh, neither one of us, I know some are going to get mad, we could be wrong, but neither one of us subscribes to the idea of Nasara Jassar. We don't. I just don't. But we do completely subscribe to the idea of another way a sovereign wealth fund is going to happen. And one of those concepts is the resources that are under our feet here in our country. This definitely looks and sounds like a move in that direction. So just putting that out there. So let's keep going, and then we'll be done with general news, and we'll get into our first themes tonight. Patriot, as a mother puts out, ex-Abercrombie and Fitch CEO Michael Jeffries has finally been deemed mentally fit to stand trial for sex trafficking after the 2024 arrest. This was 50-50. I was with a lot of people. I was like, he has to, but are they going to give him a pass? Is he not going to get a pass? He's too high up in the chain to offer him a deal where he just gets to walk, or he gets to walk away with insanity. I didn't believe that. I think he's high enough in the chain to secure a deal, but not one where he's going to get the insanity break. Because then with that one, the second they think that you're good to go, you come out, and that could be a year, 2 years, 3 years. And given where this guy's been, I wasn't buying that deal. So now he's going to stand for trial. So I think he's had his sit down conversations, the Matrix style conversations. I think he's providing the information that he needs to provide. And now we'll probably see him get a sentence that a lot of people probably won't be happy with, because they're going to be like, he should get life. And I would not disagree, but the dude is old. And so some of the numbers that we're probably going to hear around his sentencing when he pleads, because I think he will. I think a lot of those are essentially going to be a life sentence for him anyways. So with that, I'm going to go full screen with me for a second, folks. And then we're going to get into our first theme tonight, which is going to be on Comey. But before we do that, Speaking of purges, you guys have heard me say this multiple times. There's a QR code right over my shoulder from the good old Rumble. That's the Rumble wallet. When everybody purged us, you guys know I say this all the time because I'm loyal. I'm loyal. Rumble gave us a home. So check this out. We hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so that you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait for a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Now fast forward to today. Everyone's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels a little bit complicated. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all the complexity and it makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin dollar-backed stable coins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. No complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay so that you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like me directly. So do this right now, because I'm going to tell you guys about another little smooth move you can do for me. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download the Rumble wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. Just a few minutes, you can go from hearing about crypto to actually owning some. Now, some of you have all said, Alpha, I wish I was rich, because if I was rich, I'd go and I'd give you a ton of money. And I love you for that. At least your heart's in the right place, right? We good. Right now, Bitcoin's kind of low, folks. It's kind of low. So what you can do is you can go to the Rumble wallet. Y'all can send Alpha, a $20 tip, $100 tip of Bitcoin. And then when it shoots to the room, right, goes to the moon, then you'd be like, damn, see? That's all I'm saying. If you can. If you can't, don't sweat it. I'm just trying to have fun. Just saying. Just playing. I'm tired, folks. All right. You're getting tired Alpha tonight. When Alpha's tired, we do weird shit. Hold on. Got my last couple of drinks of coffee. Or last drink. Then we're shifting over to the water. All right. So let me take me off full screen. Let's get back to work. Erica, California 47, puts this out. Now, check this out. There's some Fed sloppers out there that's like, Alpha only shares the work of people that completely agree with him. I'm like, what? First of all, I think Erica, California 47, I do share a lot of her content. There's a lot of stuff that I do agree with her on. But me and her have completely opposing views when it comes to like General Flynn. So for you out there saying that I only share people that agree with my takes, you're completely wrong. There are a lot of people that I share that a lot of stuff I don't agree with them, but there's certain topics I do. So if what you're really trying to say is, Alpha, you're not sharing my shit, it's probably just because I haven't seen it. So you guys know me. I show the handles of everybody. I'm not one of those people that crops it out so you don't know who did it. People work hard to put posts like this together. So when they work hard, they should give credit for it. So that's why I'm one of the people that likes to show people's handles. So this way people know who did the work. But if you have work, if you have an article, a post, something that you think is important, or it fits a theme that's a lot of people are talking about right now, tag me, Now, also understand, I am a one-man show. I don't have a team of people that are vetting stuff, going through my email, doing all that stuff for me. No, I'm literally a one-man show that's also trying to take care of a family and raise some tiny ones. So you may have to tag me a couple times, a lot of emails come through. Just be patient with me. And like I said, send me your work. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So, if you got to bug me a couple times, bug me. Don't listen. Don't be psychotic though. Like, y'all, listen, some of you are crazy. Okay. I'm not talking to you guys. All right. You guys don't message me. You're not allowed. If you're crazy, you're not allowed to message me. But if you're not crazy and you just got to send me a couple messages, hey, Alpha, I sent this to you a couple times. I'm solid with that. So just understand I'm completely open to sharing your work. So now let's get into Erica, California 47. But if you're crazy, I'm serious. Just stop. A family member texts Patrice Comey, saying she knew the seashells of, quote, 8647 were a call to violence. Now, this is so important. I wish CanCon was watching. Somebody clip this part, send it to CanCon. See the text exchange. She said, quote, they had gone off the deep end, end of quote, and hopes, quote, Jim goes to jail for his crimes, end of quote. The shall formation is just a drop in the bucket for Comey. So I'm going to click on this real quick, make it a little bigger for you guys to see, and I'm going to read this. Patrice, I have held my tongue for a long time, but I just can't do it anymore. You guys have really gone off the deep end over the years with your TDS. Quote, 8647, end of quote, is a call for violence no matter how you spin it. You should be ashamed of yourselves. I am thoroughly embarrassed to have ever defended the absolute coward that is your husband. You and Jim are some of the least accepting, most hypocritical people I've had the displeasure of knowing. I hope Jim goes to jail for his crimes. And then you see the screenshot right there, has Amazon.com, 8647 anti-Trump funny t-shirt. So sorry that you're misunderstanding that some people think Trump is a bad president. There is no call for violence. Now, why does this matter? If you remember back to the conversation when this happened, a lot of people, including my boy CanCon, were trying to argue with me. I said, one, you don't get to judge you don't get to judge Comey through the lens of a normal civilian, because he's not. Just like me, if I went and spray painted, 187 or, some other thing, F12, right? A lot of you be like, F12? What does that mean? That's what I'm saying. A civilian might not have that understanding, but I would. And the fact that I have that understanding changes intent, motive, and all that. And this is what I said with Comey. The FBI, folks, has a gang division, just so you know. And in that gang division, guess what? They get the training that I get, right? Or vice versa, whichever one you think is more superior, just saying. And in that, we learn terms, we learn graffiti, we learn this stuff. And guess what? Cops, especially gang cops, all know exactly what 86 means in the context of something like this. So does Comey. And why does it matter, especially with Comey? Because the dude was the director of the FBI. Guess whose name's on the signature of a lot of these gang awards and gang training manuals? His. So he never got a pass. But even if you discounted all that I just said, and I'm telling you, everything I just outlined, and it's a very summarized format, but everything I just put out there is enough in of itself. But let's just concede the argument to everybody saying that it's not. This alone shows that they had knowledge of it when they did it. So again, Comey's cooked when it comes to this one. But let's continue on because we're still in the Comey section. Svetlana Lokova puts Peter Strzok leaked classified information to the New York Times on orders of Comey. Let me make this a little bit bigger so y'all can see it. During an interview with the investigative team, Strzok stated he believed FBI executive management told him to meet with the New York Times. Strzok said he recalled being told to provide an investigator-level briefing on the mid-year exam investigation. These briefings took place on March 10th, 2017, March 30th, 2017, and April 10th, 2017. During the March 30th, 2017 meeting, the New York Times told Strzok and Page that they had the classified information. Strzok told investigators he did not recall the New York Times having the classified information, but Page told investigators she specifically recalled the classified information and took a break from the meeting to discuss with Strzok that the New York Times had the classified information. He got snitched on. Page indicated she alerted her supervisors about the fact that the New York Times had the classified information. According to the FBI OPA, the New York Times advised them in their April 10, 2017 interview about the content of the article, including the classified information. This shit is falling apart for all of them, folks. Why does that matter? Let's just keep going. Julie Kelly puts this out. Some hilarious stuff in the latest DOJ filing in Jim Comey's Seashell case. It appears Jim and his wife, Patrice, who had attended the Women's March in D.C. with their daughters after Trump was inaugurated in 2017, set up the entire stunt. She even Googled the slang definition for 86 to make sure his posts would be accurate. Let me click on this one to make it a little easier for you guys to see. I'm only going to read the highlighted part. The shells were located 4 miles down the beach from the beachfront property where Comey was staying, in an area separated from the ocean by a sand dune. or by a sand dune. And there is no evidence that anyone else arranged, photographed, or even saw the shells. So what are they doing? They're removing the excuse that someone else did it. Somebody else had the ability to do it. So again, these guys are absolutely cooked. And again, why does all that matter? Well, let's bring it to the skiff. James Comey belongs in prison. Not only did he cover up the Russia collusion coup, but he threatened President Trump's life with his seashell stunt. I agree completely. He knew what he was doing because his own wife sent him a screenshot of a non-threatening definition so that he had plausible deniability and an excuse. On top of all this, Prix set up the entire Women's March in D.C. against Trump when he was inaugurated in 2017. Obviously, you see a bunch of people communicating that. And then I'll read this part right here that's highlighted. In any event, at 3:12 p.m., Comey's wife sent him a screenshot, including what appeared to have been a cropped definition of the U.S. English slang, indicating that 86 means to get rid of or refuse service. 2 minutes later, at 3:14 p.m., Comey posted a picture of the seashells on his Instagram account with the caption, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." Now, why does this matter for those of you that are not tracking, or maybe I haven't explained it good enough? If Comey knew that the seashells, let's just for 1 minute here, let's just give him the benefit of a doubt as a normal everyday American, right? Even forget the idea that he was the former FBI director. If he had his wife send him a screenshot that showed 86 didn't mean what it means to me and every other law enforcement officer out there, that it just meant to refuse service to, why would they send, if he already knew that it didn't mean anything bad, why would he need that screenshot? Now, if he knew it had other meanings, then he would absolutely want his wife to send him that screenshot. So this way he could say, oh, this is what I thought it meant. But again, what does this really do? The cover up is what gets them caught. I know you guys know where that's from. This shows collaboration. This shows conspiracy. This shows intent. This shows that they both knew exactly the message that was trying to be sent, and they were trying to come up with, again, plausible deniability, some type of alibi, whatever the case may be. Again, this proves everything I said at the very onset of all this popping off. This guy's cooked when it comes to this. Now, granted, it's also not going to be the crime of the century, but it's enough to get him to, I'll say voluntold, okay? There is a theory, and I'm open to this theory. I actually do believe it's very possible that Comey has been cooperating with the DOJ for quite some time, and that this specific case creates the cat and mouse optics for everybody to see, including the deep state, to kind of provide him some type of cover as he's cooperating with the DOJ. I truly do believe that this is a very strong possibility here. But in the event it's not, this is something that definitely puts the hooks into him to extract that cooperation from him. So you guys can let me know what you guys think about it in the chat. So that tunes out the Comey case. Now we get into Trump and what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on with everything, right? Let's see, Redneck Renegade. I don't even want to talk to you, Redneck. I don't even want to talk to you. But he says, Alpha tried to 86. You mother. All right, I got to read it so the YouTube audience knows what the hell I'm laughing. So Redneck Renegade, he's a troublemaker tonight, folks, just so you guys know. He said, Alpha tried to 86 me from the chats earlier. Oh, God, man. I love you guys. I think I love you guys too much, y'all. Y'all some shit talkers, man. Seriously, you guys some shit talkers. Insider paper puts, breaking. Trump says North Korea has 57 nuclear weapons. Not a lot, not more than 50. 57, very specific. Take a listen.
Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
Are you exchanging written letters with Kim Jong-un?
Can't tell you that. But I get along with him. And you know what? The fact that I get along with him, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. He has 57 very powerful nuclear weapons. Should have never allowed it to happen. They should have never allowed it. If I were president, I wouldn't have allowed it. But he's got them.
I get along with him very well. I can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And I know Kim Jong-un very well, and he's going to be fine. As long as we have a smart president, he's going to be fine. If we have a dumb president, then he's probably not going to be so fine.
Are you expecting to meet with him later this year?
Yeah, I will be.
Mr. President, today's
So you guys can kind of let me know your thoughts. Like, tell me in the comments, why 57? We know Trump does this from time to time. Like, he's very specific with numbers. Now, granted, maybe that's just how he operates. You know, I've had a chance to go and break down every time he's done it, so I can't say with a high level of confidence that he always is specific. But we do know that sometimes he just says incorrect numbers too. And so because of that, I don't think it's a thing of always trying to be accurate, you know, because sometimes he'll say like a number where like it's not even remotely close to that. So anyways, to this conversation, he says 57. So I said, what the hell? Let's go look up post 57 on the boards just to see if it has any relevance. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. And it comes to November 2nd, 2017. Senator McCain and others roundly criticized Rep. Michelle Bachmann in 2012 when she and 4 members of the House Permanent Select Committee Intelligence and the House Judiciary Committee cited Mrs. Abedin in letters sent to the Inspector Generals of the Department of Defense, Department of State, Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, warning about Muslim Brotherhood infiltration of the United States government. Why is this relevant? Who took the undisclosed trip to Saudi Arabia? SA. What was the purpose of F to F face-to-face versus a phone call? Alice in Wonderland. Now, I particularly think that this is relevant, and we're going to get into that here in a little bit as well. And I'm talking about the part with the Muslim Brotherhood infiltration. Is Trump signaling that there is a Muslim Brotherhood infiltration into our government? Well, stick around because we're going to answer that question here in just a minute. Let's get into this next post. Prix News puts out, just in, President Putin says Russia is ready for peace talks with Ukraine, but negotiations must reflect realities on the ground. Now, it's a minute clip. I don't understand Russian, so I'm not going to play it. And the subtitles are very slow, but essentially it's what the post says in summary, that he's ready for peace talks, but the realities have to reflect on the ground. Now, that's interesting. Now, is what he's saying, anyone check drop number 57? All right. Spawn, you'll catch up with us right now, Pawn. We just did that. And let me know your thoughts when you catch up with us. But here's the point. He's saying that the negotiations must reflect the realities of the ground. Now, is what Putin's saying that what Ukraine's been reporting as their success or lack of success is not accurate? Does Putin have more control in what's going down in Ukraine than what's being reported by the mainstream media, Ukraine, or the Western countries? I think this is what he's indicating here. But nonetheless, he is talking about peace with Ukraine. Right around the time that we know there's certain things happening with Iran. We're talking, the Mecca agreement. We're talking about, the Trump saying we control, the Strait of Hormuz. And we're going to get into something very significant that happened. But we're at that time where the deep state wanted it to be a boiling point. And as one side of the map, the chessboard, starts to get hot, which is what's happening in Iran right now, another side starts to cool down. And so what happens is where the deep state wants all these things popping off at the same time so they could have massive chaos, Trump and people I believe that are collaborating with him in the Sovereign Alliance, like Putin, all of a sudden bring the heat down in another one. And so what that does is as they escalated things here and Americans, like, anxiety starts to come up, they start saying, well, at least this is starting to kind of fizzle out over here, and then we're just kind of cool again. So it creates this equilibrium. This is something that I have been noticing in the last year and a half, which tells me that there's most definitely a damn sovereign alliance that's at play right now. But let's just keep going in this section so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So remember Muslim Brotherhood, and remember temperatures going up. Prix News also puts in, just in, Ukrainian scuba diver suspected of planting explosives on the Nord Stream gas pipelines arrested in Croatia. Now, is the timing of this relevant? Well, if we're talking about negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, all of a sudden we find out that this scuba diver over here is at the root of that, you think he's going to probably talk and say, yeah, this was a Ukrainian operation. This is who headed it. And that gives negotiation power to Russia or any other countries, including our president, that may be involved in kind of persuading Ukraine to be like, look, we know you did this. Now, how much accountability do you want publicly when it comes to this? So again, I think the timing of this scuba diver thing and what Putin said is pretty interesting. Then there's just some information here on the scuba diver, Ukrainian diver, arrested in Croatia over Nord Stream pipeline bombings. It's interesting time. I'm just going to move past the article. But if you guys want to learn a little bit more about it, it'll talk about how he was arrested once and then there wasn't no prosecution. They went after him. They found him again. So just more of the cat and mouse of how they chased him and how they found him. Not too many details on the actual event itself, although there's some cool maps that kind of show a timeline. But again, in the interest of time, we're just going to carry on. It's official. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is holding a blockbuster press conference on Monday, which was today, announcing economic devastation and sanction measures against Iran and countries who helped them. This is going to be massive. So this is the video clip that was talking about what he was going to say today.
Monday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will lay out a whole new raft of sanctions to isolate Iran. That won't be easy as you look at the map there. Iran shares borders, land borders, with 7 different countries, not all of whom are sympathetic to the United States. To the north there, you see the Caspian Sea. That gives them a direct route into and out of Russia. There's also increasing use of rail links over land to China. So it will be interesting, guys, to see on Monday what proposals Scott Bessent may lay out for getting Russia and China on board with a new sanctions regime. Those two, of course, have very little interest in helping the U.S. Back to you guys.
Give me 1 second, folks. My oldest just sent me something very important, so I got to respond to her because that is the first princess. It's one that made me a daddy, so give me 1 second. Okay. Just regarding a security alert somewhere here in our country. And obviously, I'm not going to dox where my daughter is, but I'm just letting her know if she wants Papa Bear to come pick him up, I will come pick him up. So this is when you're doing live, folks, you're doing live. And that's my baby girl. But to this point, and we're going to get into this right here too. And again, I agree with you completely on that. Boom, 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 boom in the chat. Remember, folks, this is if you agree with my perspective and position on this, that there's 2 controlling factions of Iran. There's the IRGC, which is essentially the deep state, the bad guys, the black hats, whatever you want to call them. And then there's the civilian government, which is the part that Trump is trying to help get back control. So when I see conversations like this, where Scott Bessent, where our guys are coming out and going full throttle, this is an address to that deep state controlled apparatus of what's going on. And let me just read this real quick so I know. All right. Okay. Everything's good, folks. Keep my little baby girl in your guys' prayers. But she's good. Again, so when he's saying they're going to come after him, this is how I interpret it. So I just want to make sure people understand that part. Let's keep going because all this is going to tie together and you're going to see why I keep pushing to the next one. And then again, BRICS News just in, U.S. says that it will launch economic D-Day against Iran tomorrow. Again, this is referencing what you just heard Scott Bessent talking about. Then this part, BRICS News, think about how all this plays in together, right? Around half of Venezuela's oil production now goes to the United States. So economic D-Day for Iran. When you think Iran, let me try. So again, I guess what I'm trying to do, because I don't want to lose you guys here. I know there's been some distractions. I apologize. But what I'm trying to do, let me translate what we're reading here. When you see the threat from Scott Bessent, D-Day, right? The United States against Iran. Again, the deep state apparatus of Iran. What you're really seeing is a threat against China. When you see this headline, around half of Venezuela's oil production now goes to the United States. What does this translate into? a threat, a shot against China. Why? Because when we rewind the clock all the way back to when this thing first started popping off, and if you were listening to me or you listened to the work me and Josh did, we told you every country where it was going to happen before it happened. Not because we're fortune tellers, not because we're read in. Now, we do get good advice and we get great hints, but it was because we recognize the patterns of things that were happening. We understand what this is really about. And when you understand what this is really about, you're able to see what's coming. And so what you're seeing here is, again, we know Hillary Clinton, through the email scandal, allowed those SAPs to get out to China. So we knew China got the patents and was able to start getting technology and getting ahead of us in this AI race. We knew that. But again, it doesn't matter how much of the patents they stole. It doesn't matter how much of the technology they understand. They got to have the resources to build and facilitate the infrastructure to create it. So what did Trump do? He went after what they needed. They need oil. They need LNG. They need all this stuff. And Trump went after it right out of the gate, which tells you that this was not, well, because Israel controls them. No, that is such a small mind concept. If you want to tell me you're retarded or that your brain's this little, tell me that Israel controls Trump. And then I'm like, okay, come here. I'm going to give you some Jell-O. But when you understand the reality of what's going on, you see how this all played out. You saw how Trump moved all the pieces into the board. So again, when we're reading these headlines, what it's really saying is this is the strategy of attacking China. This is what's going on. This is part of that shadow war. One more. Let me just respond real quick. Okay. I love you. Just let me know. Yeah, I'll get to see me play daddy to my little princess. But again, keep my daughter and her husband in your guys' prayers. They're okay. Just keep them in your prayers. Let's keep pushing through. Now we get to this. All right. This message from Iran, the Iranian propaganda machine. And again, when we're saying the Iran part here, we're talking the deep state controlled apparatus of it. Okay. But for those of you that don't know, earlier today I said that the deep state crossed the line when it came to this administration, right? And I'm not going to play the video. There's no damn way I'm going to play this video, but I'll summarize to you what this is about. New York Post reports, along with every other damn media outlet out there, Iran broadcasts sickening video claiming Barron Trump is fully monitored and places a $10 million bounty on his head. Y'all heard that right. The deep state in Iran put a $10 million bounty on Trump's youngest child, his baby. If that doesn't tell you where the deep state is right now, I don't know what will. Now, if you guys have been following my content, like I know a lot of you have, you've heard me say in a lot of the last couple of shows, if you watch the show that I did with Nino a few days ago, or it might have been last week, I said, I anticipate them escalating a massive threat because of how the way they're going to be cornered. They're never going to surrender and throw their hands up. This is that, folks. Remember, Iranian broadcast, forget the Iranian broadcast. That's just the avenue of how this was facilitated. Make no mistake, folks. For all you thinking, well, Iran can't touch Barron, they can't. Stop thinking that it's Iran that sent this threat. This is the deep state, folks. This is the deep state telling Trump, you better back off or we're coming for your baby. Now, before you're thinking, say what? Let's rewind all the way back to September 10th of last year. Charlie Kirk's assassinated. Now, when we go to something that happened earlier that day, I talked about it, Josh talked about it, and honestly, I think I only saw one or two other pod. I can count on my hand how many people I heard talk about this. Something that happened that morning was Barron Trump was fast team moved from his school location to DC. That right there told you that's not a normal reaction. That right there tells you something was up. There was an assessment that was made where people decided we got to extract Barron and we got to get him to DC now. And they did. A few hours later, we see Charlie Kirk's assassinated. I'm not one of those guys that writes these things off as coincidence anymore. I'm not. My speculation, and this is pure speculation, I want to be very clear about that. This is not backdoor conversations. This is my speculation. My speculation is that Secret Service, Trump's administration, got information that there were several people that were being targeted that day, and that Barron was one. And they secured him. And then obviously we saw what happened to Charlie. Now we fast forward to now. Trump has been absolutely obliterating the deep state. And now this is what they told him. Trump is a strong man. He is a warrior. You will not see his reaction. You won't. But any of you that are fathers and mothers know that no matter how strong we make this look, that man's heart has to be freaking, he probably wants to destroy a lot of people. He probably wants to push the big red damn button. That's how pissed he is. I know how pissed I would be if somebody threatened my baby. And that is what our president's dealing with right now. So just think about that as you're on social media and you hear all these ass clowns that are trying to disrespect our president, trying to do all this. This man, again, his name's been attacked. His companies have been attacked. His finances have been attacked. He's been arrested. He's been impeached. They've tried to kill him, not once, not twice, well, twice, maybe a third time. There's all these things that have happened, and now they came for his baby, and you still have these ass clowns that are fake Americans, fake MAGA, and fake patriots that want you to turn on this man. And while this man has sustained all of that, he is still fighting for us. At a minimum, he deserves for us to give him time to cook. So if you're one of those people that's like, we're all the big name arrests. Where's all this? Where's all that? The man's doing some shit. Let him cook. And if we get to the point where we get into January and midterms didn't turn out the way we wanted and things aren't unfolding the way we wanted, then we reevaluate our positions. But from now to then, support this president. Stop being an asshole. All right. And then we get here. Remember, Muslim Brotherhood at the very front end of this. My brother Josh Reed puts, that's the truth. Now, what brought me to this? Shout out to Andrew Smith, who says, just say Alpha was right. I saw that, Andrew, and now I'm going to do the public like right there because that was awesome. What is he talking about? Let's play this because I do have this clip for you guys right here.
This is foundational, Steve, that Sharia is not a religion. Yeah, as I've said earlier, it is a political, military, legal strategy for conquest. Yes, it has a veneer of pietistic practice to it, but it's fundamentally about power. And what that means in these three categories in particular is horrifying. It starts with the fact that women, their bodily safety, let alone their rights, are, over the side if Sharia is the law of the land. It's horrific. Our fundamental freedoms, Karen spoke about so eloquently, are over the side similarly if Sharia is put into place. There's no freedom of speech. If, God forbid, you say something that is considered by any Muslim to be a blasphemy against their faith, against their prophet, against Allah, you can be killed, period. This is censorship of the worst kind, obviously. And there's no freedom of religion for anybody but Muslims. Let me just say a word about this. Invariably, people say, well, I know good Muslims. They're nice and they love our country and they've served in our military and the like. I'm not suggesting that that's not true. To the contrary, our movement is about empowering such people. But the trouble is, those that we call good Muslims, well, there's another name for them. For the vast majority of the Muslim world and all of their authorities, they call them apostates. And the trouble with being an apostate in this death cult of Sharia is that gets you killed too. So generally speaking, we're not hearing a whole lot from those good Muslims. They're keeping their heads down lest they be losing them. Equal justice under the law, a foundational principle again of our constitutional republic. That's over the side because only Muslims really have rights. If you're Christians and Jews, you may not be killed outright, but you will be forced to choose between converting or serving in a sort of enslaved state, paying taxes, the jizya, to your overlords, your masters, the Muslims. Or you can choose to be killed too. I mean, they do have that on offer as well. But this is not anything remotely like the America that we love, and it must not be allowed to be present and governing in this country. So
absolutely love what Frank's putting out there. And again, this the short version of what I've always say, and you guys, any of you guys that hear me debate in these spaces, Islam is not a religion. It is a political process that's adapted religious practices in order to protect what it's trying to do politically. That's what it is. And especially if you go and you look at the roots of it, and what the prophet was a damn politician. It's not a religion, folks. It's a political group that's, again, adopted religious practices in order to provide camouflage. And a lot of people want to write it off to, oh, it's a distraction. Really? I don't care what state you live in. Go look up how many mosques are in your area, and then compare that number to the 80s and the 90s. And then you tell me if that's not real for you. It is absolutely real. Does that mean that AIPAC being in our government is not a concern? No, that's a concern too. You guys know my position. Stop listening to people who tell you only focus on the Muslim Brotherhood, only focus on the Jews, only focus on this. No, our country is surrounded. We're fighting on all flanks, and you have to be able to address all those issues. That's just where we're at. You have to. So again, anybody that wants you to focus on a single issue only, chances are they're pushing an agenda, and that should be a major red flag for you. So we're about to hit that 2-hour mark. So we're going to get into the race war part. This part ain't going to take us too long. And then we'll wrap it up with the 250 Grand Prix, aka Grand Prix. And then from there, we'll call it a night. And then we'll do Just Alpha 2.0 tomorrow. So it actually worked out pretty good. So with that, let's get into the race war that could be coming. That you guys are probably like, what the hell is Alpha talking about here? If you guys remember, and of course the names would evade me, the two high school students, the black kid, the white kid, the black dude stabs the white kid, and it was out in Texas. I can't remember the names of these two kids, but huge racial divide instantly in the Mockingbird media was put out in front of everybody. And I said, this is interesting. You know, this is something that they want to have in their bag, because look at, when the religious wars fail, when, you know, every other war that they try to get fails, the one thing that the deep state has always had success with is the race war. Metcalf, yes, that was one of them. I don't remember the other name, but thank you for that, lonesome fugitive. Let's see if anybody, Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. Yes, thank you. See, you guys are absolutely brilliant. So thank you guys for your help. I told everybody, just be careful and keep your eyes on this, because what we're probably going to see is when it comes down to, is he going to be held accountable? Is this going to be the case? They're going to time it around something that's probably strategic to something we're experiencing. And again, we're starting to approach that midterm timetable. Now, here's what I will say. This is what I'm going to say. And I'm not going to say why I'm saying it, but here's what I will provide as an assessment. Midterms are scheduled for November 3rd. I am not one of the people that thinks Trump's going to cancel elections. I don't think he would ever do that. I am open to the idea that, you know, he'll go and push them off, you know, a week, 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days. I'm open to that. And I'd be okay with that. That wouldn't bother me. But just an indefinite, we're not doing elections anymore. No, it would be a hard sell to get me to subscribe to something like that, even if it came from Trump. But as of right now, we're looking at midterms. We'll say November 3rd ish. Right? Shout out to Middle East in 30 minutes ish, right? I'm sure that the deep state is like, we need a chaotic environment to push what we want against Trump. Remember last year, think no kings, think Antifa, right? Think that the deep state knows what you guys don't know or what you don't want to believe, and that's Trump's going to declare national emergency when it comes to elections. They know that. I know that. We just I'm trying to get you guys to understand that. The deep state knows that. So the issue that they have is when Trump does that, they need chaos. They need these riots in order to push the optics, the perception, because perception is powerful. They need that against Trump to sell the idea that he's doing that, because then that gets the rhinos that are in government to join forces with the Democrats to start putting calls for impeachment. This is why all these other things that they were coming after Trump kept failing. And in the heat of all that, they were going to fire up the race war. Now, the issue they have right now, the deep state, is they're like, when's Trump going to do this? Because we don't want to light the fire too early. And so I think that's one of the reasons that you've been hearing about these stories and then they kind of fall off the burner. You hear about these stories and they kind of fall off the burner because the deep state's trying to gauge, when's Trump going to make this move? Now, again, that brings us to this, what could be that one of those potential race wars. Because if you get Derek Chauvin and you get the Carmelo Anthony and the Austin Metcalf, you get one white, Derek Chauvin, white guy gets to go free, black kid gets convicted, and you put them at the same time, holy shit, do you have a recipe for a firestorm right there when you talk about agitators, right? So think about that. So with that, Derek Chauvin's attorney seeks dismissal in a new bombshell court filing alleging illegal and fraudulent conduct by Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison, and the Hennepin County Attorney's Office. Chauvin's attorney, Greg Joseph, argues a grand jury was never convened to review the charges. Because Hennepin County's unlawful charges against Mr. Chauvin were not severe enough for the mob, Walz referred the case to Keith Ellison, who signed and e-filed a second unfounded claim against Derek Chauvin that included the murder charge. More to come. And for the record, I don't think this guy should have ever been found guilty. For those of you that are running my position, that's irrelevant to the point that I was trying to make. Shout out to American Rising Media that just rated the stream. For all you guys that are just joining, welcome. Thank you. Make sure you guys in the audience greet these people. And again, American Rising, thank you for the raid. So, but just remember, that's my personal belief. But again, I'm talking about creating the perfect storm between these two cases at the same time. So let's just keep going because this will get pretty interesting here fairly quickly. Governor Tim Walz comes out and he says this. Let me just play because it's only a few seconds and I have the clip for you guys anyways. I hope I have it for you guys. Yeah, here it is.
If he issues that pardon, we will simply transfer Derek Chauvin to serve out his 22 and a half years in state prison in Minnesota, and telling people that just to remain focused on that. And so no indication whether they're going to do it or not, but I think it behooves us to be prepared for it with this presidency, that it seems like that might be something they would do.
Chauvin is.
So again, you got Tim Walz. We know he's a clown. He's tied into this, and we know that dude's corrupt as hell. So again, you have these two cases. We're going to see where they're going. You have the conversations that are coming up. They're building the fire. Now, if that didn't create enough confusion, check out what Mr. Truth Bomb put out there. That face you make when you find out that Derek Chauvin and George Floyd worked overlapping security shifts at the same small nightclub together for a year. Say what? Yes, you read that right. Which building also doubled as a communist radio station. Say what? You read that right too. Which was then singled out and torched by the protesters during the riots. Talk about destroy the evidence, right? Now, folks, could it be a coincidence? I mean, you tell me. I'm about out of handing out coincidences, but just think about that with the theory that I provided at the front of this theme, right? Are they seeding a potential race war? They just don't know the timing to do it based off what Trump's going to do when it comes to declaring a national emergency or something tied to elections. It could be. All I'm saying is, I wouldn't bet the house on this one, but it's something that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. And I think you guys should too. So that's kind of my position there. Now we'll finish with a little fun, and then there's a cool video clip that I'm going to play at the end of tonight. So make sure you stick around then. I will read any Rumble rants that came in. I will read the super chats. So if you want me to read something here on the broadcast tonight, now is the chance to get those in while we fly through this last part. Super motivating. The White House, American speed, American greatness. Take a watch. Do you have this? Yeah.
The Freedom 250 Grand Prix is now just a few weeks away. It's something that we've never seen before.
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I'm just excellent.
Freedom won't just ring this summer, it will also rev.
The historic course will showcase the country's most iconic buildings and monuments. Just a big, hairy American winning machine. You ain't first, you're last. Game's over. Never see it again.
Why not? To the base.
I was a little loud, decided to lower it a little bit for you guys and try to blow out your guys' eardrums. So super cool. The way they brought this out, there was great marketing behind the Freedom 250 Grand Prix. We get to this one, IndyCar on Fox. It's been an eventful first group in qualifying. Let me make this big and just hit play. It's only 16 seconds, but take a look at this race car as it comes around and hits this wall. These guys got a set on them. I'll tell you that much. Listen, I would do it. It sounds fun as hell. But look at that. Poof. Hits it and just keeps on rolling. Another one. Poof. Hits it. Like, these guys wanted good times. Like, they went into day one for the qualifying. They wanted good times, and they put on a show. So again, hope you guys, if you got to see it already, hope you enjoyed it. If not, make sure you go and catch the replay. Some good stuff that was going on. Secretary Sean Duffy says, this is what it's all about. Family, freedom, and pure adrenaline right in the heart of America. The first ever Freedom 250 Grand Prix in history in the making. Get ready for tomorrow. Obviously, this is already concluded, but I wanted you guys to be able to see this. And so let me play this for you now.
This event's amazing because we're standing in the middle of history. It's the first time that's ever been done. It's just exciting to be here. It's super exciting time, bringing people together from all over the world. Look at this.
Continue on. I know some of you might be wondering, yeah, it's cool. It's America's 250 Grand Prix, but why is it important? Why does it matter when we're talking shadow wars? Why does it matter when we're talking the deep state? And I would understand that. So let's zoom out for a little bit, because we're finishing the night here anyways. And like I said, I got a cool video that I'm going to share for you guys that comes from Anon, just another solid person that puts great work out there. But I want to zoom out so you guys can see this. If you've watched this show for any length of time, there's a name you've heard me mention quite a few times, and that's Yuri Bezmenov. If you are new to the show, welcome. Subscribe, it's free. Smash that heart, hit the thumb. It really helps, content creators like myself. Make sure you do it for everybody you're watching. Listen, there are some of you out there that'd be like, I'll be watching all the shows, but I ain't gonna put a like out. It's just, you ain't right. That's what I'm gonna say. You ain't right. Just push the heart, man. Don't be so damn stubborn. Push the heart. Right. You. Yeah, you. Someone just look at their phone like, this is crazy. The phone talking to me. I am. Push the heart, smash the thumb. But here's the point. This is why it matters. When you go and you understand Yuri Bezmenov, he was a KGB agent. He defected. He does an interview, 1984 of all years, and he talks about ideological subversion. I did a very cool Substack article on it, covering it. It's free. Go read it. That really paints this picture. But again, there was these phases of how you subverted our culture in this country, and they've been doing it, and they were doing it successfully. And then you go and you look at what happened through the Obama years. Like, listen, I know a lot of people never really liked cops, but you had a large growing demographic of people that hated cops, calling for cops to be unalived, right? Like, that's how bad it goes. That's the world that I came from. Trust me, I lived it. I experienced it. But you had that coming. There's distrust, and rightfully so. There's distrust in our government. There's distrust in the medical institutions. There's distrust in pretty much anything that has to do with authority. But on top of that, we saw our military, the best of our military, getting kicked out because they wanted body autonomy, right? They didn't want to put the tunk in their body. What else did we see? We saw our borders being overrun. We're seeing, you know, American taxpayer money being sent to Pakistan for gender studies. We see, NGOs and Jewish Family Services and Catholic charities that are giving more monies to people that don't belong to this country than to Americans, American children, and American vets that are homeless. Like, we saw all this happening. Then we get into Biden's administration, and it all just accelerates. We see COVID, small businesses close down, box stores grow. The conversations around communism and socialism start getting fed and paid as formal operations into social media. All this is happening at the same time. Why? Because it was meant to destroy the American spirit. It was meant to destroy our culture. It was meant to get you to the point where you're like, it's just too much. I give up. That's what it was all meant for. So that as the final wave came through, you wouldn't have the will to fight. So what you're seeing right now, this is why what Trump's doing so critical, is he's dismantling and attacking the deep state mechanism, the apparatus of the deep state. He's doing all that. But at the same time that he's doing that, the deep state is fighting for its life. At the same time that it's doing that, everything Trump tries to do, it's trying to do a counter move, but Trump's ahead of that. So while Trump's attacking them, destroying their financial means, he also has to keep our economy somewhat, level. As he's taking on, the AI war with China, he has to keep. So when you see the UFC fight 250, when you see Trump's videos, when you see the content they're putting out, when you see the 250 Grand Prix, what it's doing, it's reviving that American spirit. It's making you feel proud to be an American again. It's making you get to the point where you're like, you know what? I want to put a flag out in my house. I want to put a flag decal on my car. I want to put something patriotic. I want people to know that I love my country. It's trying to get that again. Why? Because in war, you guys have heard this, the troops get a really nice dinner, and that's usually an indicator that shit is coming down the pipeline. Steak and lobster. You need morale to be at its highest before you encounter the hardest part. And so what you've seen Trump doing at the start of this administration is building that American spirit, trying to build that confidence, trying to get us all proud to be an American again, right? Lee Greenwood, there's a reason Trump probably has that guy singing so many times at rallies and special events. Because what I anticipate coming in late 27 as we get into 2028 is probably going to be that fight, the real fight, a real war. And we'll address that more as time comes. So just understand why I'm spending time on this part to close up tonight is because I want to remind you guys, be proud to be an American. Have no shame. It's the greatest country in the world. We are not without flaw. We are not without sin. And there's a lot of shit we got to fix. But hands down, we are the greatest country that exists on this planet. And with that comes a lot of responsibility, but we got to love our country. So, and the word patriot, I think, applies to our folks out in Netherlands, our Aussies. You're all patriots for your countries, and we're all patriots for humanity. So again, that's my rant there. But I just want you to understand why I see Trump doing what he's doing when it comes to all these events and the speeches that he's doing. So let's keep going. With that, we get Melania Trump says, fostering the future iconic. IndyCar and Fox Sports, White House and Rose Garden, Indiana University, and Purdue University. Now, I don't know why. Again, you guys know the way I am. I can't shake that detective part of my life, but every now and then I get a hunch, something just starts itching, right? And I'm just like, there's something here. There's something to this post, this photo that's there. I don't know if I found it. I'm going to go to the simple one, which is the boards, but I would call on all of you guys. Smurfette9 says, Alpha, get Data Republican on your show. I would love to have Data Republican on my show. If any of you guys have a connection, make it happen. I love having people that have been absolutely brilliant with their work on the show. So Smurfette over there on YouTube, I would love that. So if you guys all want to make it happen, maybe I'll tag her a bunch of times, and her and her family will come on the show. I'd absolutely be down for it. But again, I think there's something here. I'm not too sure what it is, but let's just take a look at the date timestamp. So again, this was posted on August 21st. So I went to August 21st to see if I could find something. And here we have the Great Awakening. Could it be? I mean, maybe. It's literally the only post for August 21st, so it wasn't like I had a lot of options. But you have Fostering the Future, The Great Awakening, maybe. Again, I don't know on this one, right? I don't have a high degree of confidence on this one. So if you guys have something, let me know. But again, I do think there's something to this post. I just can't find it. So I'm asking all you detectives, help me find it. Let me know what it is. Let me know down in the comments. With that, we'll go to this, which I absolutely know what this one is because I got a boy who's now in college. The White House focus, speed, lightning. See you on the racetrack. MAGA, Freedom 250, Grand Prix. Now, why is this important? Now, some of you are just saying right now, like what I just talked about. There's a young culture right now that has been attacked, and they're still being attacked. You know, people will say Ben Shapiro is going after them. People will say Nick Fuentes is going after them. People say Candace Owens was going after them. People are saying that Charlie Kirk had a huge influence on them. I definitely agree with that. I actually definitely agree with all of that. That age demographic, guess what was one of the most popular kids movies for them? Oh, y'all didn't catch that one, huh? Cars. That age demographic that is, you know, freshmen, sophomores, juniors in college, right? This is the popular Disney film. This was a huge Disney film for them. So don't think that this administration just thought, oh, because it's the Grand Prix, we'll just use that, right? Unless you believe in coincidences. No, this is strategic marketing at a specific targeted audience, at a specific targeted group, because that's the way these things work to get their attention. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. Just putting that out there. So let's keep going. Then we get this U.S. Department of Energy. We talked about them again. Exactly what I told you about earlier regarding, you know, John Patel Patriot, Devolution, what you subscribe to, and PEDS. That's what always catches my attention with energy. Celebrating 250 years of America at the Grand Prix is pumped for President Trump's 47 lap. So, you know, different takes there. But with this one, we got a 6 a.m. timestamp, which would be on West Coast. So if we went to East Coast time, that'd be 9 a.m. or 900. And I found this pretty interesting. Look at his family. Look at their positions. Why are we giving him this much attention? Why are we providing this much sensitive detail in a public known forum? Everything has meaning. So, and then to close this section out, then I got a video for you guys. And then tomorrow's show is going to be even more fire because I'll talk about it here in a second. Kyle Kirkwood puts out winner of the Freedom 250 DC Grand Prix. And rather than summarize it, the guy earned it. Let's take a listen to him. It's only a few seconds anyways.
Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me on. I mean, it hasn't really settled in yet, right? Like, I won the race. I get out of the car. I see President Trump sitting there cheering me on. As a proud American, that's a pretty big deal to have the president cheering you on.
So, again, having the president cheer you on is absolutely a big deal. So just give me a second as I close some of these tabs that you guys can't see so I can see the rest of my screen. And seriously, folks, if you haven't done so already, it does help me out tremendously when you push the thumb, hit the heart. What are we going to be talking about tomorrow? Some interesting stuff happened with CNN. We're going to get an update into what is call it bad influencers, right? We're going to be doing that. Calibrat Alpha, what time will we be doing part 2 tomorrow? That's the reason I was trying to close out these tabs because there's I've kind of gauge where I'm at on timing of these things. So let me see. Give me 1 second so I'm trying to do some math. Y'all know. So, and again, we're going to start off tomorrow. Well, we'll get into some general news to catch up on. Then we're going to touch in on some Fauci because obviously that was the last part of tonight we didn't get into. After we get into Fauci, we're going to get into some elections stuff that you guys are going to find very interesting with some John Solomon stuff. From there, we're going to transition into, we'll call it bad podcasters, which will take us into Michael Cohen which will then bring us back full circle into the Tyler Robinson case, and then we'll get into some QCOM. So we're needing about 2.5 hours for all this. We got to be done by 7:30. So we'll be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So 8 p.m. Eastern. And then that'll be 5 p.m. Pacific, and that should be 7 Central if I'm doing my math in. So 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I wrote it down. We're committed to it. That should allot us the time that we need for tomorrow. And again, I'm going to play that very cool video on the way out. It's about 7 or 8 minutes. It's a long one, but it's kick-ass. And it'll kind of give you an idea of the conversation tomorrow too. So I guess it's kind of a little bit of a, I don't want to say a spoiler because it's still going to be a great conversation. So with that, we didn't have any Rumble rants. Golly, man, did I disappoint you guys tonight? That's okay. Miss Rhea Freedom Fighter gifted 5 subscriptions. So again, thank you for that, Miss Rhea Freedom Fighter. And then again, shout out to America Rising Media for rating. And okay, Tina74 saving me in the end. So I have 1 Rumble rant. So this way I can feel good going to bed tonight. $2 coming in from Tina74. What do you think of Derek Johnson? I think some of you guys like him. Here's what I'll say. Let me think about this tonight on how I want to engage this on on a public profile, because I gotta weigh things. But I'll tell you this much is, I love this show. and I love the people that I collaborate with, and I collaborate with the people that I do for reasons that matter, right? There's a reason I'll attach my name to certain people, and that's all. I'll leave that one for tonight, Tina74. But again, thank you for the Rumble rant. We have 2 super chats that came in. First one that came in earlier tonight, 5 Jules treat from CC Pups 12. Thank you for that. And then we have big old $20 super chat coming in from Brian Sexton. Alpha, your attitude and generosity for your viewers is very much appreciated. Or how late you're doing the show tonight. Thank you. Well, thank you for that, Brian. I am tired. And trust me, I'm human like you guys. You guys know what it's like, when you're doing everything, you're trying to raise a family, you want to do everything right. So just know when I get messages like that, Brian, it means a lot to me too, because I do appreciate you guys. So it's likewise. Oh, $10 coming in from Tina74. You're awesome. I hope you felt that way after my answer still. I didn't get ahead of it. We got dollar for dollar coming in from G Fontes 119. Thanks, Alpha. You damn near got me with your early retirement trick. I'm sorry, G Fontes. I love you. $5 coming in from Sean Anon. Keep crushing, brother. Thank you for that, man. Appreciate that. And then last Rumble rant coming in, $17 from Ravelin. Can't leave you rentless. Love you, Alpha. Thank you guys for coming in clutch at the end to make me feel special. So if you guys are newer to Just Alpha on Monday nights, we do close out tonight in prayer. So if that's not your jam, that's okay. We're gonna do it anyways. I hope you can understand. And then after that, I'll play you guys in the outro video. Do me a solid if you haven't done so already. Push the heart, smash the thumb, share this out, get the message out. And again, nothing changes if nothing changes. So Father, and if you're driving, don't bow your head and close your eyes. But everybody else, you can say this prayer with me. Father, thank you for another day of life. Thank you for my audience. Thank you for my family. Thank you for my children. Father, please watch over my son and everybody's children that entered this new journey in their life of college. Protect their minds from those that mean to lead them astray. Encourage them to have fun and keep them out of harm's way. Father, I also ask that you protect our families along the southern border over the next few days, Father. That anyone that means harm to this country, that you deal with them how you need to. You put the people in their path to deal with them that need to. Father, I also ask that if there are any Americans that are outside of our country along our southern border, that you please watch over them and protect them. Father, there's a lot going on in this country. I ask that you continue to protect our president, that you continue to guide him, You protect him from those that mean to exploit him, to harm our country, to harm the world, and those that are trying to reach him because they need to get him information or they need to help him, that you find a way to make those connections happen. Father, I also ask that you listen to any prayers from our audience tonight that are unspoken, whether it's a financial struggle, a health struggle, a relationship struggle, whatever it may be. I ask that you give them what they need, that you heal them. And if that's not your will, then you give them what they need to sustain the journey that you have in front of them. Father, we pray and we ask all this in your son Jesus' name. Amen. Folks, with that, well, we Redneck Renegade. Redneck Renegade coming in at the very end. You're like, I got Jesus on my heart right now, Redneck. Redneck Renegade coming in with the dollar rumble rant at the very end. Oh, man. It's hard to say. I just want to say, just because I read a rumble rant doesn't mean I endorse the content. Okay, folks? I feel like I'm about to say, like my mouth's struggling right now, Redneck. Like my mouth is struggling. Listen, you're wrong for doing this for $1, bro. Like you are wrong for doing this for $1. Redneck Renegade types out, "Go Pack Go." That was gross. Sincerely, not CanCon. Thank you for your attention to this matter, guy. You just, I go, ooh. Vengeance, Redneck, vengeance will be mine. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the show. More importantly than that, do me a solid, share this out. And here is our clip on the way out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then immediately following that, we'll be doing DEFCON. See you guys tomorrow night. Good night. God bless. Nothing changes if nothing changes.
And a couple of weeks ago, you told Matt Lauer that Donald Trump would not win the presidency. Mm-hmm. Do you now think that he will not win the nomination as well?
I think foreign observers are troubled by some of the rhetoric that's been taking place in these Republican primaries. I'll leave it to you to speculate on how this whole race is going to go. I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration.
We call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
People would ask me, knowing what you know now, do you wish like you had a third term? And I used to say, you know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking.
We're in a situation where we have put together
and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
The Biden White House is under investigation. The AutoPen signed 8,000 pardons. The AutoPen was first used regularly by President Truman. He used it for simple stuff like thank you notes, nothing serious. Obama changed that. Barry had a portable AutoPen that he used in Europe to sign major legislation. First time a machine ever signed an actual bill. The pen was the best kept secret in the Oval.
That things like technological change, things like mass media, things like the market are all subject to our control.
We are in regular touch with these social media platforms. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook.
As revealed in a Time magazine article in February of 2021, individuals and organizations have been plotting to fortify the election since at least 2015.
This is the inside story of the conspiracy to save the 2020 election, but it's massively important for the country to understand that it didn't happen accidentally. Democracy is not self-executing. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that both curtailed the protests and coordinated the resistance from CEOs. Both surprises were the result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans. They got states to change voting systems and laws and helped secure hundreds of millions in public and private funding. That's why the participants want the secret history of the 2020 election told, even though it sounds like a paranoid fever dream. A well-funded cabal of powerful people, ranging across industries and ideologies, working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, change rules and laws, steer media coverage and control the flow of information. They were not rigging the election. They were fortifying it.
You can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
My next guest has seen some of the tens of thousands of texts exchanged by two FBI officials who sent anti-Trump messages during the 2016 campaign and beyond. He claims those texts include a reference to a, quote, secret society.
Chairman Gowdy and I were reviewing those text messages yesterday and came across that one. So there is a reference in the immediate aftermath of the election of Donald Trump where Page and Strzok refer to hitting thumb drives and maybe having the first meeting of the secret society.
What's also troubling to me is this text that Johnny Radcliffe found last night about this secret society. Now, I have no clue what that means because that was not the phraseology I used, but it's the day after the election, and it's the same two people that were discussing a little bit later in the text the damage they had done with the Clinton investigation and how they could, quote, fix it and make it right.
And when you take that in the context of their expressed, not just bias, but their intent to prevent Donald Trump from becoming president in the first place, and then some of the texts that were read in the intro about finishing the job and fixing things, it really does tell a troubling story that we need to investigate.
Look, I think that everyone is going to have to take a hard look at where they want to be at this moment in history as we're looking at efforts across the country to prevent people from being able to exercise their fundamental rights.
The burdens of global citizenship continue to bind us together. Partnership and cooperation among nations is not a choice. It is the only way